Alright, I just finished dry fitting all the pieces, and it was a little tricky. The hard part is getting the right gap spacing on all the pieces. I wanted to cut them too tight and too close to the wall, and the trick is really leaving yourself enough room. And here's what it looks like right now. This is what I'm talking about right here. This kind of spacing here and all along here. You can see it doesn't exactly line up right now. I'll get it exact when I set it in a mortar. Here's the baseboard to see, but you can tell I think I'm a little too close to the wall here. I'm not giving myself enough leeway. So I'm going to scrape a little bit of the drywall off, just about 1/8 of an inch to give me enough room, and it'll still be covered up by the baseboard when we set that in. But I didn't do too nice of a job around the toilet, but you're never going to see it. It's going to all be covered up. So yeah, this took about an hour, maybe 2, to cut all these pieces, all the notches around. I had to go back down to the saw a few times to get all these little pieces right. But it's all set for the thin set, and I'm going to use a 1/4 inch on the trowel and set them in place. Alright, well, it is the next day, and I got all the tile cut and ready to be installed. I'm going to go in the basement, mix up some thin set mortar, and spread it with the 1/4 inch trowel. And I'll start in the back and work my way out. Well, I just got done setting the tiles in the mortar, and it was quite a lot harder than I thought it would be for my first time. The first problem I had was these tiles are kind of brittle, and when I set the first one in, I was holding it at the corner and it cracked, so I had to cut another one. The second problem I had was with the level. The floor was a little bit out of level at first, and I thought it wouldn't be a problem until I tried to match up the corners. I had to pull some of the tiles out, set some more thin set down, and try to re-level it, get it all flush, and really push on some corners. Here's the problem I had was right here. I had to add some here, I had to add some here, I had to add some there, so I had to pull all these tiles out and redo them. I think the next time I'm going to take a lot more care in trying to get the floor level. The first time I might set a thin coat of thin set down to begin with and make sure that's all level. I just have to let it dry for a day, then I'll grout it, let that sit for 72 hours, and then I can install the toilet. Okay, so we've put the tile down yesterday. That was 24 hours ago. We've let it set, and now we're ready to mix the grout and apply it to the joints. We have sanded grout that is colored specifically for the tile. They suggest the color of the grout and caulk we bought. Now they say you don't want to mix this, you don't need a lot of water when you mix this, but you do want it a little bit runnier. Not runny, but runnier than the thin set mortar. So I'm only doing, like I said, 25 square feet, so I'm going to mix a small batch. If I have to come down and mix more, I'll do that. But I'm just going to add it with a little bit of water. I think it's 2 to 1 you want to mix grout to water. Okay, so I have my first batch mixed up, and I'll try to show you the consistency of it. I can kind of let it roll out here. Now I don't want it, I think I might add a tiny bit more water from what I've seen previously, but it's not soupy, but it's not like peanut butter. It's a little bit more runny than peanut butter. So take it upstairs and grout the joints. And now the key to grouting the joints is you want to get it from every different angle. You use your float. You want to go along the joint, across the joint, diagonal to the joint, every direction. You want to pack that joint in with grout and then scrape it flush. And you let it set for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back with the sponges when the grout on the tile is hardened, but the grout in the joint's still a little wet, and we'll wipe everything up. Alright, so I put all the grout in. It didn't take much, you know, just a couple inches up from the bottom of the bucket. That's probably because it's only 25 square feet, and I'm using such large tiles that there's not a lot of grooves that it actually has to get into. But let me show you what it looks like now with the grooves. It's probably been 15 minutes, so I'm just about ready to take all the sponges. I have 3 sponges and a bucket of water. So I'm just about ready to wipe everything off. Okay, so I finished with the grout and I let it sit for 3 days, and that's when you're ready to do the sealing. And for this I use this surface guard sealer. It's a liquid, it's clear. I put it in a pan. Before I put it on though, I noticed there was some grit on the tile, kind of dusty grit. I wiped that off, let that dry. And then it only took a small amount, and I used the sponge, same sponge that I was doing with the grout. I wiped it on, I waited 5 minutes. I wiped it off with a rag. A lot of it was absorbed, and then I put a second coat on. Also in the package it came with this cleaner and resealer. I did not use that. I just used the one in the green container. So I let the sealer dry for a few hours, and I'm going to start doing the trim around the edges. And I'm using this trim that I got at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's actually, it's not solid wood, it's like a composite plastic foam. It cuts really smoothly on the miter saw, and it's just a series of 45-degree angles working your way around the room and nailing it to the wall with the power nailer. The video you just watched was just one part from a series of bathroom remodel videos we did. Click next to see the next video in the series, or you could check out my bathroom remodel playlist to see all the videos we did while remodeling the 3 bathrooms in our house. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to like the video and subscribe. Thanks.